Part 40. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 391. Zhang Chen went in with a wash basin. It was very hot inside. In the middle of the room, there were 2 rows of stools for people to sit on. They were surrounded by rows of wooden shelves. The shelves were divided into squares with no doors. It's for people to put their clothes on. Zhang Chen found a space, took off all his clothes, put them into the space, and carried the wash basin to the inner room. The inner room was the shower room. There was a door frame between the shower room and the dressing room outside, but there was no door. There were 8 doors around it. There were 9 shower faucets. When Zhang Chen arrived, there were already many people inside. There were 2 or 3 people standing under each shower faucet. Everyone has formed a tacit understanding invisibly, that is, when one person is washing under the faucet, the others will stand on the side and wait. The person who is washing is very conscious. After washing, he will step aside to make soap, and give the position under the faucet to others. After applying soap on his head and body, he couldn't open his eyes and didn't know what was going on around him. At this time, the person who was standing under the faucet would say "come on" when he knew it was his turn. He would move a few steps over there. Step 1 and start rinsing the soap suds from your head. Zhang Chen saw there was only one person under the shower faucet in the corner, so he walked over and stood aside to wait. Zhang Chen looked around and immediately discovered an interesting thing. Although everyone was naked when they arrived in the bathroom, you could still see the difference from everyone's feet. Anyone wearing plastic slippers was on the second floor. Passengers like Zhang Chen on the first floor wear wooden shoes. Use a piece of hardboard to cut out the rough shape of the foot. At the front end of the board, use a piece of 2-wheeled bicycle tire rubber about 2 centimeters wide to nail a semicircular tab. The foot can be put into it and it becomes a slipper. Zhang Chen thought to himself, this is probably because he is afraid that the passengers on the first floor, especially those who sleep on the entire corridor, will secretly stuff the plastic slippers into their bags and take them away. If you sleep in the corridor, if someone next to you sleeps, they will take it away. The slippers in front of your bed were stolen, and you couldn't figure out who stole them. So the waiter had to remind himself to put his new clothes and shoes into the duty room. Zhang Chen then discovered something more interesting. There were 3 people standing under the shower faucet next to him. They were all passengers on the second floor wearing plastic slippers. 2 young men stood on one side, one on the left and the other on the right. Under the shower faucet is a middle-aged man. Different from the others, this guy had been standing under the faucet without any intention of letting anyone around him use it. He let the hot water rush over his body. Even if he was applying soap, he had no intention of getting out of the way. Instead, he moved his position and let the hot water rush toward his butt. He used his hands to apply soap on his head and other parts. Soap, it's warmer. This guy is really a bit domineering, but there are 3 people sharing the same faucet. The 2 young men didn't speak, so it's hard for the others to say anything. While the guy was washing, he was chatting with the 2 young men. Zhang Chen gradually got clues from their words. It turned out that this guy was a director of the county below. Of the 2 young men, one was a secretary and the other was a secretary. They were the drivers. They couldn't find time to come to Hangzhou before the Spring Festival. In the provincial capital, they didn't have many New Year's greetings when they were supposed to, so they came here to pay their respects at this time. If you delay it until after work on the 8th day of the lunar month, it will make people feel too insincere. They were discussing which stores they would go to tomorrow, where to go first and where to go later. The 2 young men kept nodding and said, "Okay, director." After rinsing his whole body, this awesome director said, "I'm ready, you can just wash up." He walked away. The 2 young men were naked and stood respectfully by the side. They didn't dare to move. They were both freezing. They quickly squeezed into the hot water to warm up first. Jiang Chen washed for a long time. The two young men had left, but he was still washing. The people who shared the faucet with him looked at him with disdain. Jiang Chen didn't care about this. The hot water was pouring on him, and he felt every bone in his body was heated, and even the feeling of hunger disappeared. His whole body felt indescribably comfortable. After taking a shower, Jiang Chen lifted the curtain and walked out. He saw Xiao Zhao waiting for him in the corridor. Her hair was wet and her face was flushed by the heat. Jiang Chen looked around and kissed her on the face when there was no one around. One time. "It's so cold here and you wear so little, why don't you go down?" Jiang Chen complained. "Waiting for you, what took you so long? There are many people inside, and 2 or 3 people use one faucet." "Haha, then why don't you come to our place to wash it? Each of us can use 2 or 3 faucets. So empty." "Yes, do you want to go in and take a look?" "No, I'll be beaten to death as a gangster." Xiao Zhao smiled softly, and the two of them walked downstairs together. When they arrived at the stairs, Jiang Chen saw the director with a quilt wrapped around him, sitting on the sofa in the hall and picking his feet. Jiang Chen seemed to suddenly understand, why is the women's bathroom so empty? In days like this, only men still run around outside. Even if you are already an awesome and coaxing director, you still have to run around outside. Jiang Chen and Xiao Zhao returned downstairs. The waiter had already put away the sweaters. She was adding charcoal to the brazier on the floor. She was very happy to see them back and called them over to warm up the fire. Jiang Chen and Xiao Zhao took stools and sat down next to the brazier. The brazier had just added charcoal and the fire was very strong. They were wearing woolen sweaters and barefoot in wooden slippers, so they didn't feel the cold. The three of them were sitting and chatting. The waiter's name was Alien. Jiang Chen and Xiao Zhao didn't need to introduce themselves. She knew their names. They were on the passenger registration book. She even knew where they were from. Xiaolian, like Osman thus, used to be a vegetable farmer in Sijiking across the Qingtai overpass. The vegetable land was expropriated to build a clothing market, leaving no vegetables to grow, so the district arranged for her to work as a waiter here. Xiaolian asked Jiang Chen, "Are you coming from Yongcheng?" Jiang Chen said, "No, we came from Hainan and we're going back to Yongcheng." "Then why don't you go back?" "We didn't buy the tickets for the year before in Guangzhou, and we only arrived in Hangzhou on the second day of the new year. Anyway, we had already missed the New Year's Eve dinner. It would be the same to go back a few days earlier and a few days later." She has never been to Hangzhou, so she just stayed here for a few days before going back. Xiaolian kept nodding, understanding. It was 20 minutes before 9 o'clock. Xiaolian kept looking at her watch. When she saw them looking at her, she explained to them that there were a lot of guests at home every day. At this time, the old wine might not have been eaten yet. "Every day I wait for her to clear the table and wash the dishes." "Where is your mother-in-law?" "She won't help you?" Jiang Chen asked curiously. Xiaolian snorted, "She is an evil person. She pretends to have back pain when there are many people. My father-in-law cooks all the vegetables. My father-in-law and my husband are both drunkards. They are probably drunk now. Don't know anything anymore." Jiang Chen and Xiao Zhao both laughed. Jiang Chen asked Xiaolian, "The second floor here seems to be different from the first floor." "Yes, there are long private rooms on the second floor." "Long private room?" "Yes, our place is close to the train station. Many places in the countryside below have reserved rooms with us. It's cheap. It's convenient for people coming and going to rest here." Jiang Chen understood. He knew that the countryside Xiaolian was talking about was not the real countryside, but that Hangzhou people used to call all places outside Hangzhou the countryside, and Qilaoer was the contemptuous name Hangcheng people used for country people. That director was probably what Ziyulian said, and he came from the countryside to take charge of private rooms. Zhang Chen found it a bit funny. This Ziyulian was from Sijiking. In the eyes of people in the urban area of Hangzhou, she was a standard country girl. But to her, she definitely didn't think of herself as a country person. People from the cities and counties below were country people. Zhang Chen has been to Shanghai, and he knows that in the eyes of Shanghainese, everything except Shanghai is hometown money, but people in Shanghai don't think Americans are country people, even if they are really farmers from Kentucky. In their eyes, even American country songs are very fashionable. So, who are the rednecks anyway? At 10 minutes before 9 o'clock, Sister Gihua walked in from the door. As soon as Ziyulian saw Gihua come in, she stood up and told Zhang Chen and others, "Sit down, I'm off work." She said hello to Osman thus fragrans as she walked through the door, and left in a hurry. Osman thus laughed and scolded, "Is it true that you are carrying the ghost of time, and you stumble and become a sashi?" Osman thus walked into the duty room, holding a barrel-shaped bamboo basket commonly known as hangcheng basket in her hand, with a towel covering it. Gihua saw the two of them and was stunned for a moment. She felt that the two people were a little different from what she saw in the morning. The man was energetic and the woman was prettier. After thinking about it for a while, she understood and she started to laugh. In the morning they were wearing the military coats, and now they had changed into new clothes. They had just taken a shower, and their hair was still wet, so of course it would be refreshing. Osman thus put the bamboo basket on the table and said to them, "I brought you some food from home. During the first month of the year, all the shops outside are closed. I think you must not have eaten well." Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao were overjoyed after hearing this and quickly said, thank you, Sister Gihua." Xiao Zhao stood up, leaned against Sister Gihua, and said coquettishly, "Sister, it's not that we didn't eat well, it's that we didn't find anything to eat at all." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 392. Osman thus used tongs to stir up the charcoal fire in the brazier, then placed the tongs horizontally on the brazier, opened the aluminum lunch boxes one by one from the bamboo basket, and placed them on the tongs to heat. The first one is filled with soy sauce duck meat and 8 treasure vegetables, the second one is a whole half-pound steamed crucian carp with jinhua ham slices simmered in the fish belly, and the third one is half braised pork and half sweet and sour tenderloin. Xiao Zhao shouted, "My saliva is drooling." "Swallow it back," Osman thus scolded with a smile. She took out another plastic bag from the basket, which contained lotus leaf buns. When Xiao Zhao saw it, he stretched out his hand to grab one and eat it, but Osman thus knocked it away with his hand. Osman thus said, "Eat it when it's hot." She placed the lid of the aluminum lunchbox next to the fire pit and baked the lotus leaf buns in the lid. Xiao Zhao said coquettishly, "Sister, I'm hungry." "Bear it," Osman thus scolded, "you can eat it even if it's cold, you greedy cat." "I'm not a greedy cat, I'm a hungry ghost," Xiao Zhao said. "Bah, bah, bah," Osman thus glared at her, "you're celebrating the new year, you're not a ghost, I think you've seen ghosts." All three laughed. Gihua finally took out a plastic pot from the basket, which contained 0 copy rice wine. She said to Zhang Chen, "I brought you wine." Zhang Chen quickly said, "That's great, thank you Sister Gihua." "I want to drink too," Xiao Zhao shouted. Gihua found 2 enamel tea jars for them and put the wine into the tea jars. 1 pot of wine just filled the 2 full tea jars. Gihua and Xiao Zhao said, "Let's heat it up together." "You drink less." "No, I want to drink more," Xiao Zhao said. "Then if you start drinking like crazy in the middle of the night, I can't bear it." Xiao Zhao chuckled. Osman thus put the 2 teapots next to the brazier. The fire in the brazier was very strong, and the vegetables in the lunchbox were hot and steaming in a short time. Xiao Zhao rubbed his hands, his nose twitched, and shouted, "It smells so good, can I eat it?" Osman thus handed her the chopsticks and said, "That's it?" Xiao Zhao and Zhang Chen immediately opened their chopsticks and started eating. Osman thus told her to eat slowly. She stood up and went to check the ward. Zhang Chen picked up the wine and took a sip. This was his first sip of wine this year. After one sip of wine, his nose felt sour. Xiao Zhao didn't notice that the handle of the enamel teapot was a bit hot. With his left hand, Xiao Zhao stretched out the sleeve of his knitted bra on his right hand. Using the cuff of the sweater as a protective pad, he held the handle of the teapot, picked up the wine, and met Zhang Chen explain. "Come on, cheers." The two toasted. Zhang Chen did not dare to look directly at Xiao Zhao, so he could only pretend to do other things. He moved the already hot dishes to the side, put the two lunchbox lids with lotus leaf buns in them, and placed them in the middle of the brazier. After both sides of the lotus leaf buns were a little burnt, he picked up one. Empty the lunchbox lid, pick up the lotus leaf bun with chopsticks, put it into the lunchbox lid, and hand the lid to Xiao Zhao. Xiao Zhao took it, holding the lunchbox lid with one hand and the lotus leaf bag with the other, took a bite, and exclaimed, "It's delicious, it's delicious, it's especially delicious." When Zhang Chen put another burnt lotus leaf bun into the lunchbox lid in Xiao Zhao's hand, Xiao Zhao had already finished the first one. She giggled and started eating the second one, and continued eating until the third one. When there were four, she shook her head and said, "I can't eat any more." "My dear, are you trying to force me to death? You were said to be starving to death before, but now you are starving to death." Xiao Zhao stretched out his hand to draw a half circle in front of his face and shouted, "You didn't see, I ate so many vegetables." "I understand." Xiao Zhao looked at Zhang Chen with wide eyes, "Are you trying to fill me up with this? Do you want to eat a lot of vegetables?" Zhang Chen said, "Oh. Why did you discover the conspiracy?" Xiao Zhao shook his head, "Go, I don't believe it, you don't think so, you are the best to me." When Zhang Chen heard this, his nose felt sore again, and he almost shed tears. He cursed himself in his heart, "How the hell are you acting like a bitch, crying even when you have a meal?" Zhang Chen finished baking the fifth lotus leaf bun and asked Xiao Zhao, "Do you want more?" The last one. Xiao Zhao stretched out a finger and said to Zhang Chen, "I really can only eat the last one." Xiao Zhao saw that Zhang Chen's tea jar was shallow, so he picked up his own tea jar, filled it up with the wine in it for Zhang Chen, and then filled it up again. The two of them finished the food and drinks. Xiao Zhao actually didn't drink a few sips of wine, but his face was glowing red. Against the firelight, he looked particularly charming. Zhang Chen really wanted to pick her up and give her a good kiss, but he was worried about Sister Gihua. "I'll be back at any time," I held back again. When Sister Gihua came back, the two of them had already eaten. Sister Gihua asked if it was enough and whether they were full. Xiao Zhao held up his belly, showed it to Sister Gihua, and shouted, "Sister, look, my belly is big." As soon as she finished speaking, Sister Gihua laughed and looked at Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen chuckled awkwardly. Only then did Xiao Zhao realize that there was something wrong with what he said and couldn't help but blush. She quickly put the empty lunchbox, teapot, and chopsticks into the bamboo basket, picked up the basket and said to them, "I'm going to wash the dishes." Sister Gihua said, "No need to wash it, I will take it back and wash it." Xiao Zhao refused, so Zhang Chen stood up and said, "I'll help you." Osman thus had no choice but to let them do it. She picked up a wooden board with a key hanging on it and said to them, "Then go to the boiler room to wash. There is still hot water in the boiler room." The so-called boiler room is the one that turns left at the end of the corridor. It is on the first floor under the bathroom and is connected to the old house. Zhang Chen used the key on the wooden board to open the door and go in. There was a small boiler inside. From the small boiler, a faucet is connected, and below is a pool, which is used for boiling water. There is a pile of coal beside it. Jiang Chen closed the door when he entered. As soon as Xiao Zhao put down the basket in the pool, Jiang Chen hugged her from behind. Xiao Zhao turned around and hugged Jiang Chen too, and the two started kissing. Two people came out carrying bamboo baskets. Xiao Zhao walked in front, and Jiang Chen followed. He saw the black stain on Xiao Zhao's down jacket and knew it was from the coal pile just now. He regretted not wearing a military coat. He quickly reached out to pat Xiao Zhao. Xiao Zhao also realized something and cursed lightly. Fortunately, the coal was very dry in winter. Jiang Chen patted it away easily with his hands, but because the color of the clothes was too light, black marks were still left. The two returned to the duty room, and Ge Hua casually said, "How long did it take you to wash the dishes?" Xiao Zhao's face turned red instantly. Ge Hua looked at her and then on her body. She understood and smiled. Jiang Chen quickly turned around, not daring to look at them. Go to sleep, Xiao Zhao shouted shyly. After he finished shouting, he felt that there was another problem with the words, and his face became even redder, almost dying of embarrassment. When they came in, Sister Ge Hua was reading the passenger registration book. When she heard Xiao Zhao call her, she closed the registration book, looked at Xiao Zhao and asked, "You are really going to sleep? Why don't you stop warming up by the fire?" Xiao Zhao hadn't come out of the embarrassment just now, so he quickly said Osman thus picked up a bunch of keys, stood up, and whispered to them, "Don't say anything, come with me." After saying that, she walked out. Jiang Chen and Xiao Zhao followed her, not knowing what they were going to do. Sister Ge Hua led them to the second floor. When they reached the stairs, Sister Ge Hua told them, "You guys will sleep in room 203 tonight. This is the long private room. No one has come yet. It should be empty today. You guys can sleep in it bar." Xiao Zhao and Jiang Chen finally understood and quickly said thank you to Sister Ge Hua. Osman thus walked to the door of 203, opened the door, reached out and turned on the switch beside the door. Jiang Chen and Xiao Zhao saw that there were two beds side by side inside, with a table and a chair in the middle of the two beds. Under the window of the corridor outside, there is another table and a chair. The furnishings of the room are very simple, but very clean and tidy. More importantly, Jiang Chen and Xiao Zhao felt that they had not lived in the room for a long time, and every room looked friendly. Sister Ge Hua said to them, "You can sleep peacefully, I will call you tomorrow morning." Jiang Chen quickly said, "Thank you Sister Ge Hua." Ge Hua turned around and went out. Xiao Zhao walked her to the door. Ge Hua stopped. She lay next to Xiao Zhao's ear and teased her with what Xiao Zhao had said before, "Be careful, don't get pregnant." Xiao Zhao's face turned red with embarrassment, and he shouted angrily, "Oh, sister." Sister Ge Hua smiled happily and walked out. Xiao Zhao hugged her and said to Jiang Chen without looking back, "I'll go down and talk to sister." The two women hugged each other and went downstairs. Jiang Chen walked over and closed the door. He walked back and sat down on the bed. He couldn't help but take a deep breath. The bed was actually covered with soft spring mattresses. Jiang Chen fell down. He felt that he had not slept on such a comfortable and dignified bed for a long time. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 393. Hearing the knock on the door, Jiang Chen quickly got up from the bed and went to open the door. Xiao Zhao was standing at the door wearing a military coat. Jiang Chen pulled her in and closed the door. "Why are you wearing this?" Jiang Chen asked as he fled back to bed. "Sister Ge Hua helped me wipe the outside of my down jacket with water and dry it by the brazier," Xiao Zhao said, It's all your fault. I'm so embarrassed. How can I compensate you? I'll warm up the bed for you, Zhang Chen said with a smile. That's pretty much it? Xiao Zhao smiled maliciously. She had already thought of how to punish Zhang Chen. She got on the bed, and when Zhang Chen wasn't prepared, she suddenly put her cold hands under Zhang Chen's clothes and pressed them against his chest. Zhang Chen felt like he was being burned, so he yelled and tried to get away. Zhao shouted. Don't hide, or I won't let you touch me today. Zhang Chen did not move obediently. Help me warm up, Xiao Zhao said. Okay, as ordered, it will be warm. Xiao Zhao giggled proudly, leaned over, and the two hugged each other tightly. It felt like they were hugging and kissing for the first time. It felt like the weather wasn't that cold anymore. The two of them cuddled together, and Xiao Zhao suddenly asked, My dear, I want to ask you something. Don't be angry. Zhang Chen said, Okay, you can ask. First make sure you're not angry. I promise I won't be angry. Tell me the truth, are you unwilling to take me back to Yongcheng? No. Then why do I feel that you don't want to go back to Yongcheng after you arrive in Hangzhou? Zhang Chen was silent. After a while, he sighed and said honestly, I really don't want to go back to Yongcheng. Xiao Zhao was shocked, and Zhang Chen also felt it. His arms around her tightened, and Xiao Zhao asked, You don't want me to see your parents? Zhang Chen shook his head and said, No, I just feel embarrassed. Is it because of me? Xiao Zhao pouted and asked blankly. Zhang Chen quickly turned around, kissed her, and said to her, Of course not, don't think too much, it's because of myself. Why? What do you have to be ashamed of? Zhang Chen told Xiao Zhao all the messy thoughts he had while lying in the corridor last night. After speaking, he sighed, and Xiao Zhao also sighed. Zhang Chen was amused and asked, Why are you sighing? Xiao Zhao smiled softly, You can't tell, but my man is still such a face-conscious person. What your man? Do not you? Yes, yes. Humph, don't you dare. Xiao Zhao thought for a while and said for no reason, but it's pretty good. What's good? Zhang Chen asked puzzledly. You are obsessed with saving face. People who are obsessed with saving face cannot be considered bad people. They are afraid that others will say bad things about them. Zhang Chen laughed loudly, What nonsense are you talking about? Are you a bad person then? Zhang Chen was speechless for a moment. Look, right, Xiao Zhao nodded, so what I said is right. Zhang Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He was going around and around, but he couldn't get out even though he was trapped inside. Xiao Zhao stretched out his hand and drew on Zhang Chen's chest with his fingers. Xiao Zhao said, My dear, if you don't want to go back, then we won't go back. We will look for jobs in Hangzhou. If Hangzhou doesn't work, we will go to Shenzhen or Guangzhou. What's so scary? We can't support ourselves. Zhang Chen said yes. As long as we are together, it will be fine, Xiao Zhao said, With you, I am not afraid of anything. My dear, you promise me one thing. What's the guarantee? Don't leave me alone, I will be sad. Zhang Chen kissed her, I promise. Don't bully me, Xiao Zhao continued. That's two pieces, Zhang Chen smiled. What, you want to bully me? Don't dare, Zhang Chen said quickly, I promise not to leave you or bully you. Only you can bully me. That's more like it, Xiao Zhao chuckled, now I'm going to bully you again. When Zhang Chen woke up, it was already dawn outside, but Xiao Zhao was not around. He looked at his watch and saw that it was already past 8 o'clock. Zhang Chen put on his woolen sweater, sat up, leaned against the head of the bed, took a cigarette from the table beside the bed, and started smoking. Before he finished smoking a cigarette, there was a knock on the door. Zhang Chen quickly got out of bed and went to open the door. Xiao Zhao came in holding a big bowl of wontons and shouted, "Eat quickly, eat it while it's hot." Zhang Chen asked curiously, "Where did it come from? Is there a snack bar open nearby?" Where Xiao Zhao said, "It's breakfast sent by Sister Gihua's mother-in-law. Sister Gihua told her that we can share it too." Zhang Chen was overjoyed and sat on the bed and started eating. He asked Xiao Zhao, "Have you eaten yet?" "Well, I'm downstairs, eating with Sister Gihua." "What are you doing up so early?" "I got up to help Sister Gihua. She worked alone from the first day to the 6th day of the first lunar month and worked the evening shift and the early morning shift. No one went to work. There was nothing I could do. This time in the morning is when the most customers leave. When it's the busiest, I'll go down and help." "Sister Gihua asked you to go?" "No, I went by myself." "How do you know this is the busiest time at the hotel?" Xiao Zhao rolled her eyes at him. "Have you forgotten that I have been trained? Aren't big hotels and small hotels all the same except for the price?" Zhang Chen suddenly realized, yes, he had indeed forgotten that when Xiao Zhao came to Haikan, Wang Heilu went to their hometown and hired him as a waiter. Zhang Chen finished eating wontons, got out of bed, got dressed, and went downstairs with Xiao Zhao. When they got to the duty room downstairs, they saw an old man in his 60s sitting there, looking at them with a smile. Xiao Zhao shouted after calling her auntie. Zhang Chen knew that this must be Sister Gihua's mother-in-law, so she quickly called her auntie. Xiao Zhao picked up a large wide-mouthed thermos bottle and bowl on the table and went to wash them, but his aunt snatched them away and said that she would wash them. The aunt went out with a thermos, a bowl, and a spoon. Xiao Zhao patted the chair in the duty room and said to Zhang Chen, "You sit on duty. If there are people who want to check out, please call Sister Gihua. I will go and pick up the ones we stayed in the room was cleaned." Zhang Chen agreed, sat down on the chair, and Xiao Zhao went out. Not long after Xiao Zhao went out, the aunt came back after washing the dishes. Zhang Chen quickly got up, got a stool and asked her to sit by the brazier. The aunt dragged the stool aside, sat down, and told Zhang Chen that she didn't like sitting by the brazier. "Once I sit down, I can't stand up." Zhang Chen knew that this meant that it was too warm and comfortable next to the brazier. It seemed that this was an old man who was used to working. Zhang Chen asked her whether she came here by car or bicycle from home. Auntie said that wherever you need to take a car, you can get there by walking or walking. This slap in the face means a little bit. While the two were talking, Sister Gihua walked in. She asked Zhang Chen, "Where is Xiao Zhao?" "Going upstairs," Zhang Chen said. "Going upstairs again? This girlfriend of yours is so nimble. She has finished 2 rooms, but I haven't finished one. She said she was trained, right?" Zhang Chen nodded. "You are so lucky to have found such a girlfriend. She is beautiful and capable, and everyone will like her." "I like both the smile and the good looks," Auntie said from the side. Zhang Chen quickly said yes. Auntie stood up, put the thermos bottle and bowl into the bamboo basket that Sister Gihua brought yesterday, held it in her hand, and said she was going back. "Mom, please don't bring me food at noon. I'll eat when I get back from get off work at 1 o'clock. Sister Gihua told her aunt, and the aunt patted Sister Gihua on her arm and cursed affectionately. "When you carry the ghost of time, you will be hungry when you are so good." Sister Gihua is like a child, smiling happily. "Do you want to go out later?" Sister Gihua asked Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen said he wanted it, but Sister Gihua and her aunt said that it would be enough to give it to me alone. Sister Gihua took her aunt's arm and said she was going to send her out. When she walked to the corridor outside, she saw a thread on her cotton padded jacket and shouted, "Mom, wait a minute, there's a thread." She turned around, bent her head, and bit off the thread with her teeth. The two people continued walking and reached the gate. They didn't seem to want to break up yet, so they stood and continued talking. When the two people stood talking, their hands were hooked together. The aunt seemed to have said something funny, and the two of them laughed so hard that they hugged each other. Jiang Chen looked at the two of them, not like mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, not like the previous generation and the next generation, but more like a pair who had been together since childhood. Grow up, sisters. Finally, the aunt waved her hand and said, "Let's go, I won't talk to you anymore." "Mom, go well, Mom, be careful of cars on the road." Auntie has already walked out, and Sister Gihua is still calling. Sister Gihua stood there, watching her mother-in-law walk away, then turned around and walked back. "Sister Gihua, the relationship between your mother-in-law and daughter-in-law is really good," Jiang Chen said to Sister Gihua. "We came from past lives, so we get along very well," Sister Gihua said with a smile. "My mother-in-law also asked whether we were mother and daughter in our previous life." "I think they look more like biological sisters," Jiang Chen said with a smile. Really, if I have anything on my mind, I won't tell it to my own mother-in-law, but I will tell it to my mother-in-law," Sister Gihua said cheerfully. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 394. When Jiang Chen and Xiao Zhao left the Red Flag Hotel, it was almost 10 o'clock. Xiao Zhao wanted to help Sister Gihua do some more work, but Sister Gihua refused and kicked them out, saying that there was not much work left and I was alone. "You can flirt with people casually, just go and have fun." They walked to the entrance of Kuiwen Hall. Xiao Zhao still wanted to eat PoortoRich, but he thought it was too early for lunch. The two of them stood there and hesitated for a moment. Xiao Zhao still said that he didn't want to eat. "Let's go." In fact, there was another reason for not eating. Xiao Zhao didn't say it out loud. She thought it was too expensive. She felt that everything in Hangzhou was cheaper than Haikan. Only this noodle was more expensive than the noodle soup in Haikan. A bowl of PoortoRich cost 7 yuan, and the service attitude was so bad. These waiters were not trained. If you were in Haikan, customers would beat you to death here. Thinking of this Haikan saying, Xiao Zhao couldn't help but smile. They continued walking forward and reached the junction of Jifang Road and Huixing Road. They found that a noodle shop was open today on Huixing Road, which was more than 10 meters away from the intersection. Probably because the store was too small, the boss put the tables at the door. On the street, there were 4 or 5 people sitting there eating noodles. Xiao Zhao got excited and quickly pulled Jiang Chen and said, "Let's go over and take a look." The two people walked to the door of the noodle shop and saw a small blackboard hanging at the door, which read, "Mixed Sichuan, 0.5 yuan, smooth noodles, 0.8 yuan, green vegetable noodles, 1 yuan, PoortoRich, 2 yuan. Xiao Zhao asked Jiang Chen, "Are this PoortoRich and that PoortoRich the same?" Jiang Chen said, "Of course. In Hangzhou, the way PoortoRich is cooked is very similar. If it were different, people would think it was pickled cabbage noodles instead of PoortoRich. Then let's eat here. Isn't it still early?" It was still early, now it's almost 11 o'clock. Jiang Chen looked at his watch. It was clearly only 10:20. Is it almost 11 o'clock? And from the front at the entrance of Kuiwen Hall, it was too early to now, less than 10 minutes have passed. Jiang Chen wanted to laugh at Xiao Zhao, "Your stomach is made of rubber bands. You are hungry when you say you are hungry, and you are not hungry when you say you are not hungry," but he didn't say it. He knew that Xiao Zhao said he wanted to eat, and he probably looked at the price list here. Jiang Chen and Xiao Zhao sat down and ordered 2 bowls of PoortoRich. They told the boss to add more spiciness. The noodles came out quickly. The boss also felt that he had added spiciness very cruelly. The two of them tasted the soup. Delicious, but still not spicy enough. Jiang Chen walked into the shop and asked the boss for hot sauce. Xiao Zhao's eyes widened when she saw that the hot sauce Jiang Chen brought out was chopped pepper. She lightly hit the table with her hands excitedly. She added some for Jiang Chen. Spoon, added another spoonful for myself, and then couldn't wait to take a chopstick and put it into his mouth. Jiang Chen asked her if it was delicious. What a loss, Xiao Zhao said regretfully. What's wrong? Here, these noodles are really delicious, but we had one bowl yesterday, and we can eat 3.5 bowls here. Kuiyuan Guan's noodles are the most expensive in Hangzhou. Why? It's so famous. Also, the three words Kuiyuan Pavilion have their origins and culture. I don't want it. Xiao Zhao curled his lips. What's the use of fame and culture if you can't eat them in your stomach? While the two were talking, they saw a man in his 30s, dressed as a migrant worker, riding a very old bicycle. He stopped at the door of the store, got off the car, and stood there looking inside the store. After hesitating for a long time, he parked his bicycle, walked over step by step, walked to the stove facing the road, and said to the boss who was cooking noodles. Boss, can you help me? What? The boss looked up at him and asked. Can I trade my bicycle with you for 2 bowls of noodles? The boss waved the horse spoon in his hand and said impatiently, go away, who wants this old bicycle? It's just like scrap metal. The man didn't walk away, he stood there and muttered, just 2 bowls, the cheapest noodles will do. The boss turned sideways, looked at the bicycle behind the man, and said disdainfully, there's no lock on it, is it stolen? No, I promise not, the man said anxiously, we were working on a construction site, and our money was stolen by someone who lived in a work shed. We couldn't go home, and the construction site didn't start work and the team didn't start. Me and brother, I haven't eaten for 2 days. Editor, you thieves are the best at making up, let's go, I have my own bicycle. The boss waved his horse spoon again. The man was almost crying. He said, I am really not a thief. This car belongs to the person who stole our money. He must not dare to come back, so I broke the car lock. Let's go, I'm busy, I don't have time to listen to you, the boss scolded. The man had no choice but to walk away. He squatted beside the bicycle and held his head. Jiang Chen and Xiao Zhao finished eating and walked over. Jiang Chen grabbed the skull bag rack of the bicycle and pressed it down hard. He found that this bike is old, but it is still sturdy and there is no problem riding it. It is similar to the old bike I bought when I first arrived in Haikan. Jiang Chen thought in his mind that this man had to exchange for 2 bowls of the cheapest noodles. The cheapest noodles only cost 1 piece for 2 bowls, and 2 bowls of Pioneer cost only 4 yuan. Jiang Chen said to him, I'll give you $10 and you give me the car. The man almost jumped up from the ground and said quickly, okay, boss, don't worry, I'm definitely not a thief. Jiang Chen smiled and said, I believe you. Xiao Zhao asked in Jiang Chen's ear, why do we need bicycles? Ride. Since I won't go back to Yongcheng, I need it. When I first arrived in Haikan, I rode my bicycle every day to find a job. Xiao Zhao said oh and opened her wallet to pay. Looking at the man, she leaned into Jiang Chen's ear and said, honey, shall we give him 15 yuan? Jiang Chen nodded. Xiao Zhao took out a $10 bill from his wallet and handed it to the man. The man took it and took out a $5 bill and gave it to the man. The man was stunned. He looked at Xiao Zhao, then looking at Jiang Chen. Xiao Zhao said to him, this is for your brother. The man quickly said thank you. The man collected the money and walked towards the noodle shop. Jiang Chen patted the skull bag rack and said to Xiao Zhao, come on, get in the car. The first thing we need to do now is to buy a lock for the bicycle. Jiang Chen took Xiao Zhao on his bicycle and rode along Huixing Road to the intersection of Renhe. They didn't see a single store open. Jiang Chen and Xiao Zhao said that it looked like we were going to untie by my lock. Xiao Zhao said okay, I will sit in the back anyway, no matter where you want to go. Zhang Chen rode from Renhe Road to the intersection of Huansha Road, turned left onto Huansha Road, and rode straight through the postal road. When he arrived at the intersection of Jifang Road, he did not turn right, but continued to ride forward until he reached Kuahuo Road. Turn right, cross Wushan Road, and arrive at the back door of Xiebai. The bicycle was unlocked, and both of them couldn't leave. Xiao Zhao gave Zhang Chen his wallet, and Zhang Chen went inside to buy the lock, while Xiao Zhao stayed to look at the car. Zhang Chen went to the lock counter and thought for a moment. He didn't buy a bicycle lock, but a chain lock. There are too many people stealing bikes. Even if you lock your bike, the bike thieves will still lock you. Carry the car away with a chain lock. You can lock the car to a tree or telephone pole on the side of the road, or you can lock the car to a railing on the side of the road. Zhang Chen took the chain and locked it out. Xiao Zhao saw it and asked him how much it cost. Zhang Chen told her 2 yuan and 2 cents. Xiao Zhao smiled and said, "It's so expensive, it's almost as expensive as a bicycle. This lock is now the most expensive part of the car. Of course. Without it, the car is gone. Do you think it is expensive?" Zhang Chen also laughed. After riding the bicycle, Zhang Chen felt that his world had become broader and his freedom had increased. He asked Xiao Zhao, "Where do you want to go?" "I will take you there." Xiao Zhao thought for a moment and smiled, "Holiday Beach, is that okay?" Zhang Chen laughed and said, "Okay, get in the car and we'll start riding now. There are endless descendants and they will always ride to Hiken." "Shame, then you have to have descendants first," Xiao Zhao scolded. "Maybe it already exists," Zhang Chen said with a smile. Xiao Zhao blushed, knowing that he was referring to yesterday, so he sat in the back and remained silent, but he hit Zhang Chen on the back with his hand. Zhang Chen deliberately exaggerated and shouted, shaking the car, and Xiao Zhao exclaimed. Hugged Zhang Chen's waist tightly with both hands, and put his head on his back. Zhang Chen thought of those nights in Hiken, when he was riding a motorcycle and Xiao Zhao sat behind, just like that, holding his waist tightly with his hands and pressing his face against his back. Zhang Chen raised his head and looked up, as if the plane trees above his head had turned into coconut trees on the provincial road. Zhang Chen wanted to press a string of cheerful bicycle bells hard. He pressed the handle of the bicycle bell with his right thumb, but found that the gear inside the bell must have been rusted, and he could not even press it. Move. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 395. Zhang Chen said he would take Xiao Zhao to Lingyan Temple. Xiao Zhao smiled and said, "Why, you don't want to touch me anymore and you want to become a monk?" Zhang Chen laughed and said, "I will return to secular life even if I see you." "Then we won't go, let's stay by the West Lake," Xiao Zhao said. "Don't you hate the water in West Lake?" "Yes, I hate the water in the West Lake, but I don't hate the West Lake. Can't we just stay away from it so that we can see it but not smell it?" Zhang Chen said, "Okay, let's go to Liaolang Weining's lawn to bask in the sun." They learned the lesson from yesterday and went to Tianxiang Tower first to buy some braised vegetables. When they passed by Ji Weiguan, they also bought big meat buns, so that dinner was ready. There are many visitors to singing the orioles in the willows. Although the lawn inside has dried up in winter and is no longer green but the color of withered grass, there are still many people lying on it to bask in the sun. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao also lay down on the lawn. They worked late last night and got up early today. The sun was warm on their bodies, and they fell asleep without knowing it. When they felt cool under their bodies and the wind felt chilly on their faces, the two of them woke up. The sun had already set. They looked at the time and saw that it was 4:18 in the afternoon. Zhang Chen took Xiao Zhao and rode to the entrance of Zhejiang Academy of Fine Arts diagonally opposite Liaolang Weining. Zhang Chen turned the faucet and turned in. He thought, as a Zhejiang Academy of Fine Arts, he passed by his alma mater, why not go in and take a look? Thinking of this, Zhang Chen couldn't help but smile while riding in the car. He thought of Lu Ligan. I wonder how he is doing now. Thinking of Jin Lily again, Zhang Chen secretly felt that it was strange that a person who was once so close to him now felt a very strange and alienated feeling when he thought about it. It was not painful or sad, as if there was even a slight wave in his heart. None of them got up. In fact, there is nothing good to see in Zhejiangmei. All the buildings are closed with seals on the doors. There are not many people on campus. Zhang Chen took Xiao Zhao around the school and walked out of the school gate. Just go back to the Red Flag Hotel. Zai Yulian was sitting in the duty room, heating food. When she saw Zhang Chen and the others coming back, she asked them to come over and sit down. Xiao Zhao took out the stewed vegetables and invited Zai Yulian to eat. Zai Yulian hesitated and did not move her chopsticks until Zhang Chen and her after saying that this was bought by Tiang Xianglu, she started to eat it. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao took out the steamed buns bought by Ji Weiguan and baked them on the tongs, giving them a unique flavor. The three of them finished dinner and chatted for a while. Xiao Zhao also helped Zai Yulian knit a sweater for a while. When the boiler came, Zai Yulian asked Xiao Zhao if she wanted to take a bath today. If so, go up with her at 6:30 later, lock the bathroom door and finish washing first. Xiao Zhao actually didn't want to be alone in the bathroom with her, facing each other naked. It was embarrassing just thinking about it, so he said, I'm a little tired, I'll take a shower later. Anyway, the women's bathroom is not busy. If it were Sister Gihua, she would definitely agree, and Xiao Zhao himself would feel strange. Zai Yulian was a little unhappy, but she still went upstairs alone with the wash basin and asked them to help take a look. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao agreed. In fact, there was nothing to see. When Zai Yulian came to take over, the beds were all full today, and the guests who were supposed to leave had already left. It was late at night, and there would be no guests to check out, because she didn't handle it. After paying the bill, there was no cash in the drawer except for a few spare change notes. What was there to see? Zai Yulian walked out of the duty room. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao breathed a sigh of relief at the same time. They looked at each other and laughed. Zai Yulian came down from the shower and sat for a while. She looked at the time and saw that it was not yet 7 o'clock. She became a little impatient. After thinking about it, she told Xiao Zhao that there was an emergency at home and I had to go back first. Can you watch for me and listen to Gihua? You can do all the work in our hotel. Xiao Zhao nodded and said yes, I'm sleeping here anyway. If you don't ask me to help, I won't have anywhere to go. I will always be in this duty room. Zai Yulian smiled a little fawningly and said, I forgot you lived here. Zai Yulian packed her things, said goodbye to them, and left happily. After walking outside the gate, she came back and said to Xiao Zhao, when Osman thus comes, if you ask. I know, I just said you just left, Xiao Zhao said. Zai Yulian flattered Xiao Zhao and left with peace of mind. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao went upstairs to take a bath one after another. Zhang Chen licked the fresh coals from the brazier. The two of them sat by the brazier, constantly stroking their hair with their hands, hoping to make it dry faster. Just like yesterday, at 10 minutes before 9 o'clock, Sister Gihua came and brought them food. Xiao Zhao told her that they had already eaten today. Then let's have a night of wine, Sister Gihua said. Sister Gihua saw that there were only two of them in the duty room, but Zai Yulian was not seen. Sister Gihua asked them, where is Zai Yulian? Although it had been almost 2 hours since Zai Yulian left, Xiao Zhao was not a meddlesome person. She told Sister Gihua, she had an emergency at home and she just left. Let us help and watch over her. Don't listen to her gimmicks. She is in a hurry to copy Mahjong. Osman thus cursed and stopped worrying. At around 10 o'clock, when the food and wine were finished, Xiao Zhao got up and went to wash the dishes. Without Sister Gihua's advice, She took off the boiler room key hanging on the wall and walked out. Today, Jiang Chen was too embarrassed to follow her. Go out. When Xiao Zhao came back, Sister Gihua looked through the passenger registration book and told them, "You are staying in 217 today." Jiang Chen and Xiao Zhao quickly said thank you to Sister Gihua. Sister Gihua said, "Get the key yourself." Next to the duty desk, there is a wooden shelf against the wall. The shelf is divided into small squares. Under each square, the room number is written in white paint. This square is used to store the keys of each room. Each key is strung on a small bamboo sign with the room number written on it. When the guest comes, the key is taken from the square grid to him. When the guest leaves, the key is returned. But sometimes, guests staying in the hotel feel that it is too troublesome to carry the room key when they go out temporarily, especially that brand, which is irritating to put in the pocket, and the key will be handed back to them. Therefore, just looking at the key cabinet is not enough. When I came out, I had to check the passenger registration book to find out which room the guests were staying in. I would know which long private room upstairs was empty today. Xiao Zhao stood up, walked to the key cabinet, took the key to 217, handed it to Jiang Chen, and said to him, "You go up first, I will accompany my sister to talk later." Jiang Chen stood up and said goodbye to Sister Gihua. He picked up the newspaper on the table and said to Sister Gihua, "Did I pick it up and read it?" Sister Gihua said yes. Jiang Chen sat on the bed, smoked a cigarette and read the newspaper for more than 10 minutes. There was a knock on the door. Jiang Chen ran over to open the door and fled back to the bed. Xiao Zhao followed him in. Jiang Chen shouted, "Hurry up and get in bed, the quilt is already warm." Xiao Zhao giggled, but she was not in a hurry to take off her clothes. Instead, she came over, sat down by the bed, and said excitedly to Jiang Chen, "My dear, I have found a job." "Ah," Jiang Chen was taken aback and asked blankly, "What kind of job?" "Just work as a waiter in this hotel." "You?" "Yes, I just told Sister Gihua that we are not going back to Yongcheng and want to find a job in Hangzhou. Sister Gihua told me, what are we looking for? Just work as a waiter here. We are short of people here. The salary plus bonus is about 120 yuan a month, and since I work here, I can sleep in the duty room every day without spending any money." Xiao Zhao was very excited and chattering. She turned around, reached out and touched Jiang Chen's face, and continued, "Also, as a family member, you can get a discount if you continue to live here. My dear, you say, isn't this great?" After Xiao Zhao finished speaking, she looked at Jiang Chen and found that Jiang Chen was not as happy as she imagined. She asked, "What, you are not happy?" Jiang Chen nodded and shook his head. He felt a little confused for a moment. Although he knew that even in Hangzhou, jobs were not that easy to find. This waiter was considered a formal job. When he arrived in Haikan, he finally didn't you also want to apply for a waiter job, but you haven't applied yet, so you almost went to the farm to sell coconuts. However, Jiang Chen felt that it was still difficult for him to equate Xiao Zhao with the waiter. He always felt that Kejin and the others were the waiters, and his Xiao Zhao was a princess and should be higher than them anyway. "What's wrong, dear?" Xiao Zhao asked softly. Jiang Chen looked at Xiao Zhao and asked, "Would it be wronging you to be a waiter?" "What's wrong with this? I originally left home to go to Haikan to be a waiter." When Xiao Zhao said this, his eyes darkened and he continued, "To be honest, dear, I also thought about it. I would rather I got to know you when you came to stay or eat while I was working as a waiter, not there." After Xiao Zhao finished speaking, he sighed. Jiang Chen took her hand and said to her, "Don't think about it. I just think that being a waiter is too hard. I've done it today, I can do it. But, in such a cold weather, I have to get up early to go to work every day, and I have to work 3 shifts like Sister Gihua and the others. What's the point? When I was studying, it was also so cold. Didn't I have to get up very early every day, go outside and pull out a dustpan of pigweed and come back before going to school? Pluckweed? You. Yes, we classmates all have to pull out pigweeds. Zhang Chen couldn't help laughing. It turned out that Xiao Zhao was the real pig grass girl. Xiao Zhao saw him smiling and thought he agreed. Xiao Zhao stood up and shouted, "Dear, you agree? That's great. Then I'll tell Sister Gihua. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Niang. Chapter 396. Wait, Zhang Chen stopped Xiao Zhao. Now it's just Sister Gihua who has told you about this. You haven't met their leader yet, so you can't confirm this, right? As long as you agree, Sister Gihua will be the leader of this hotel, Xiao Zhao and Zhang Chen said. This time, it was beyond Zhang Chen's surprise, but when he thought about it, Zhang Chen felt it was reasonable. If it weren't for the leader, who would have celebrated the Chinese New Year? No one was willing to go to work, so he spent 6 consecutive days. From the 1st to the 6th day there are evening shifts and early morning shifts every day. Only the leaders have no choice but to set an example. Knowing that Sister Gihua is the leader of this hotel, Zhang Chen feels that the doubts he just had have gone away. It would be great if Xiao Zhao could work with Sister Gihua. Sister Gihua will definitely take good care of this foreign girl. This is better than it's much better to go to a strange unit and be surrounded by strange people. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao said, "Okay, I agree." "Didn't you agree before?" Xiao Zhao opened his eyes in surprise. Zhang Chen smiled and said, "It was preliminary agreement before, now it is formal agreement." "You're a scumbag." Xiao Zhao made a face at Zhang Chen and prepared to go out. Zhang Chen quickly shouted, come back, there is one more thing to discuss." "Is there anything else? Why are you such a mother-in-law today?" Xiao Zhao came back, sat down on the bed again, looked at Zhang Chen and said, "Tell me, what's the matter? If you work here, we can't live here. I can't keep taking advantage of your company. Over time, others will talk about you, which will also make it very difficult for Sister Gihua. Also, you work the night shift. You can sleep in the duty room during the day, but what about the morning shift and the middle shift? You can't sleep in the duty room every day. Others may not be willing to squeeze 2 people into one bed. Besides, we can't sneak around and fight guerrillas like this every day." Zhang Chen added the last sentence, and Xiao Zhao hummed, stretched out his finger, and tapped his forehead. After much thought, "I still want to act like a gangster. That's right. I am playing gangster with my own woman. Can others control me?" "Who is your woman?" Xiao Zhao said angrily. "Hey, yesterday you were the first to say that I was your man." "Yes, then are you my man? Then are you my woman? You speak first. You speak first. You are a man, you should speak first. You are a woman, you say it first." Snort. Xiao Zhao puffed up her cheeks angrily and glared at Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen looked at her and said, "My eyes are wide with anger, my eyebrows are upturned, and my eyes are very beautiful." Xiao Zhao burst out laughing, and the two hugged each other and kissed. "Dear, I thought about it, and what you said still makes sense." Xiao Zhao snuggled into Zhang Chen's arms and said to him. "Of course, my name is Li." Zhang Chen said, "We went to rent a house. On the 8th day of the lunar month, everyone started working in the office, so I went to find a job." "Okay, then I'll go down and ask Sister Gihua where there is a house to rent." Xiao Zhao stood up. "I'll go with you." Zhang Chen got out of bed and quickly put on his pants and clothes. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao went downstairs. Xiao Zhao told Sister Gihua their thoughts. Sister Gihua nodded and thought they were very considerate. Zhang Chen asked Sister Gihua where there was a house to rent, and Sister Gihua said, "There are residents all over the overpass. They don't even have enough room for themselves. In a place as big as a snail shell, there are 5, 6, 7, or 8 people living there. There will be no houses for rent here. After the overpass, only farmers like us will have houses. There is plenty of time, but the rent around Sijiking is too expensive. A room costs 150 to 200, and it is rented by clothing owners in the market. 150 to 200? Those 2 people work, and one person's salary is not enough to pay the rent." Zhang Chen is very realistic now. He knows that Hangzhou is not a sea city. He cannot expect that he can find a salary of thousands or thousands in Hangzhou. Every month getting 200 to 300 is considered a high salary in Hangzhou. Are you afraid of living far away? When you get to Sanbeo, 70 or 80 yuan a month is enough, Sister Gihua said. How long does it take to ride a bicycle from Sanbeo to here? Zhang Chen asked. Half an hour. That's not scary. I have a bicycle. I can take Xiao Zhao to work every day. Do you have a bicycle? Sister Gihua asked curiously. Where is your car? Park outside. Sister Gihua stood up and walked to the door of the duty room to take a look. She didn't see the car in the corridor. Xiao Zhao said, Sister, it's outside the door. Didn't you carry it in? Sister Gihua said, there are a lot of bicycle thieves around here. It's okay, Sister Gihua, I locked it on the telephone pole and can't steal it, Zhang Chen said. What's the use? Go and see. Sister Gihua said and walked out of the door. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao quickly followed. The 3 of them went outside the door and reached the parking spot on the left where Zhang Chen parked. Zhang Chen was dumbfounded when he saw it and couldn't help but curse. One sentence, Mom. Xiao Zhao and Sister Gihua laughed so hard that they squatted down and almost burst into tears. They saw that Zhang Chen's bicycle was still locked on the telephone pole, but only a tripod locked with a chain was left. The front and rear tires, seat, and faucet had all been removed with an adjustable wrench and stolen. When I took a closer look, even the chain of the bicycle was gone. Zhang Chen opened the chain lock, carried the tripod, and the 3 of them walked back. Xiao Zhao teased Zhang Chen, it's okay, the most valuable parts haven't been stolen yet. I admire that noodle shop owner now, Zhang Chen said. What do you admire about him? Xiao Zhao asked curiously. It's like a prophet. His words came true. He said this morning that this was scrap metal. Look, it's not true now. Xiao Zhao smiled so much that his whole body was attached to Sister Gihua. No need for a lock now. After entering the gate, Zhang Chen threw the tripod beside the gate, holding a chain lock in his hand, and said angrily while walking, Xiao Zhao laughed again. The 3 of them returned to the duty room and sat down. Zhang Chen asked Sister Gihua if anyone was open at the market selling used bicycles. No need to buy it, Sister Gihua and Zhang Chen said, I still have an old bicycle at home. You can take it and ride it. In this way, after get off work tomorrow, I will take you to Sanbeo to find a house first. I have relatives there. The house after you find it, stay here, Xiao Zhao, and you can officially come to work the day after tomorrow. The next day, Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao did not go out. They helped Sister Gihua work at the Red Flag Hotel and waited for Sister Gihua to get off work before going to Sanbeo together. Sister Gihua's mother-in-law brought them breakfast and lunch. When they were about to go back at noon, Sister Gihua told her mother-in-law, Mom, let Hagen pick me up later and ask him to take the old bicycle at home. Bring it here. Hagen is Sister Gihua's husband. Soon, Hagen arrived, a very strong man. He was riding a bicycle holding the handlebar with one hand, and holding the spigot of another bicycle with the other hand. The two bicycles were side by side. I rode here at home. After Ziyulian arrived, the four of them, Hagen took Sister Gihua, Zhang Chen took Xiaozhao, and two bicycles, went directly to Sanbeo. They arrived at Sanbeo and found Hagen's cousin's house. The cousin's family was very happy to see Gihua. The cousin's sister-in-law came over with a loud shout and hugged Gihua. Gihua told them about Zhang Chen when they wanted to rent a house. She said that Xiaozhao was a colleague in their work unit, so she brought them over. There happened to be a vacant room on the second floor of her cousin's house. Without waiting for her cousin to tell her the price, Gihua said directly, "It's settled." 60 yuan a month. After saying that, she looked at her cousin's sister-in-law and said, "My sister-in-law quickly smiled and said, 'You have already spoken, what else can I say?'" It can be seen that Sister Gihua has a high prestige in the eyes of her cousin's family, and Zhang Chen is more relaxed. My cousin and sister-in-law took them upstairs and looked at the room. It turned out that they were storing things that were not used at home. My cousin and sister-in-law said that they could just move these things to the woodshed below later. "Are there any tables and stools?" Sister Gihua asked. My cousin said yes. "Move them here," Sister Gihua said. "Is there a bed?" The cousin-in-law shook her head. Sister Gihua stretched her head to look down at the yard. She saw the tricycle parked in the yard. She said to Hagen, "Go home now and bring over the old sleeping bed at home." Hagen nodded, walked downstairs, held the handlebar of the tricycle with both hands, and shouted, "Xiao Feng, go and help me." A boy of 14 or 15 years old ran out from the house on the first floor and jumped on a tricycle. Hagen rode the tricycle out. "Will the agency store on the street be open?" Sister Gihua asked. "At this point, it should still be open," my cousin said. "Xiaozhao, ask my sister-in-law to take you to the consignment store to see what daily necessities you need. Buy some first," Sister Gihua said to Xiaozhao, and both Xiaozhao and cousin sister-in-law agreed. Sister Gihua turned around and said to Zhang Chen, "You take me back to the hotel by bike and borrow a mattress quilt and 2 quilts from the work. You can use them first. After the first month, you can buy new ones by yourself. These are returned to the unit." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 397. During this spring festival, Lu Ligan felt rather depressed. Zhang Chen and Xiaozhao were not here, and Wenwen and Qian also returned home. He didn't know whether they would return to Haikan next. Yilan's mother took Yilan with her. "I went to my grandma's house in Lingshan to celebrate the New Year and didn't come back until after the Lantern Festival." Lu Ligan was the only one left in the entire yard. Fortunately, the hotels and entertainment venues in Haikan are still open. Even though it is the Spring Festival, there is still singing and dancing around the clock, and the food stalls on the street behind are still open, so Lu Ligan has not encountered any difficulties in eating. "When I'm hungry, I ride my motorcycle and eat whatever I want. When those bad guys came that day, they originally wanted to smash this motorcycle. Yilan's mother came out and said that this motorcycle belongs to her family and you can't touch it." Yilan's mother screamed so loudly that the neighbors next door came running over. Those bad guys saw it and had no choice but to give up. They also knew that, depending on the character of the Hainanese people, if they really risked their lives, in less than 10 minutes, the entire Binya village might come. It would be a question of whether the dozen or so of them could go out by then. Anyway, there were already people upstairs. If you smash it, you can still explain it to the boss. Lu Ligan was too lazy to buckle Wu Zayawai and waited for him to call back and then wait for him to drive over. He thought it would be more convenient to ride a motorcycle. Lu Lepol was at Lu Yun's place on New Year's Eve and the first day of the Lunar New Year. Lu Yun was very busy. During the entire spring festival, their golf course, especially the driving range, did very good business. In addition, Their chairman brought his friends and family members. Lu Yun also came to Hainan to celebrate the new year, but Lu Yun was not so free. In addition to her work in the club, she had to take time to accompany them from time to time. Lu Ligan lives at Lu Yun's place, and Lu Yun can only come back at 10 o'clock in the evening when the driving range closes. He goes out early in the morning, and at most he comes back to deliver lunch and dinner to Lu Ligan. After the incident between Wen Wen and Qian, Lu Ligan felt that he did not dare to face Lu Yun. Although Lu Yun did not know about the incident between him and Wen Wen Qian, Lu Ligan himself felt a sense of guilt. He felt that Lu Yun was indeed like this. Zhang Chen said she was a good girl, but she was something he, Lu Ligan, couldn't afford. When they were together, he always felt a little sorry for Lu Yun. Lu Ligan looks like a gangster, but he is not a real gangster after all. This kind of guilt makes Lu Ligan deliberately try to please and cater to Lu Yun when he and Lu Yun are together. Lu Yun accepts this intention and even likes it a little, but with Lu Ligan, he feels that he is too much. Hypocritical, tired, and hating myself. Also, after this incident, Lu Ligan felt that Lu Yun had become more serious about her and his affairs than before. She didn't say it, but Lu Ligan felt that she seemed to have taken their affairs seriously. Plans to further develop the relationship. Lu Yun's seriousness also made Lu Ligan feel a lot of pressure. He knew that he would eventually be sorry for Lu Yun's seriousness, so why move on? For a moment, Lu Ligan had the idea of having a complete confession with Lu Yun, but he knew that if that happened, he and Lu Yun would be completely over, which Lu Ligan couldn't bear to part with. You are so humming insatiable, Lu Ligan scolded himself, but scolding came after scolding. He was still reluctant to let go, so he did not speak in the end. Lu Ligan felt that he was really hopeless. On the second day of the Lunar New Year, Lu Ligan lied that he had a social event in the evening and could not come. Then when will you come again? Lu Yun asked. I can't tell. You know, these people in Hainan can't stay at home, so they want to drag others to accompany them. The most important thing is to pay for them. Damn it. If I come, I will call you first of. Okay, Lu Yun nodded. Stop drinking, got it? It's impossible to drink less. Then try your best, and get a good rest. Lu Ligan said yes. Lu Yun stood in front of the window, watching Lu Ligan riding on his motorcycle and disappearing in the distance, and she sighed softly. She really wanted Lu Ligan to stay here, but she was also a little afraid of the different tricks he would do every night. Although she liked this kind of tossing from the bottom of her heart, she was worried that it would make her less energetic when working during the day. She now has to be extra careful and give her best to every day's work. This time the chairman came, Lu Yun felt that his attitude towards her had changed slightly. The club had gone through the most difficult period. In difficult times, he needed her help and support and could not do without her. On the contrary, now it is difficult after this period. The chairman probably felt that she, as the general manager, was not that important, and it didn't matter whether she had him or not. Especially the wife of the chairman, who brought her younger brother here this time. When they see her, their eyes always dodge. Lu Yun understands in her heart that with the pattern of these people, at this time, it is natural for them to feel, fatty water should not flow into other people's fields, even if it is unloading mills and killing donkeys, it is only natural and right. That boy, maybe they brought him here to replace him. Although the boss really wanted to do it, Lu Yun didn't get this position by sleeping with him, so the relationship between them was relatively simple. Since she didn't rely on her beauty, she could only rely on her own ability and hard work to become an indispensable person. Replacement. Lu Ligan returned to Yilin's house from Lu Yun and stayed alone for several days. In fact, he didn't have any social activities, only Meng Ping did. From the first day of the new year to the 5th day of the new year today, this kid has never been idle. He had social activities every day. Meng Ping also called Lu Ligan, but Lu Ligan didn't go. Think about it, what's the humming point in eating that kind of food and saying those vain words with those vain people? He is different from Meng Ping. He doesn't have so many things to ask of them now. Being bored, Lu Ligan even followed the second-rate guy to find Ding Dong. When he went there, he was still a little excited, but halfway through, he lost interest. He felt that they were also humming vain, no matter who they were. She moaned in vain, and still called her husband in that delicate voice. Lu Li stood up and went home. If he had known this, Lu Ligan felt that he had not thought of calling Wu Ziyawai on the boat to Zhanjiang and asking him to drive across the sea to pick them up in Zhanjiang. The four of them simply drove back to Yongcheng. That should how good. Why am I so stupid to think of this now? Lu Ligan immediately rejected the idea. He felt that even if he thought of it at that time, he would not be able to do it. There are still things that have not been settled in Haikan. Wen Wen and Qian are still with Lu Yun. It is impossible for him to say that he will leave them. Just walked away. Although neither of them took their relationship seriously and said it was just for fun, after all, they still had feelings for each other after getting along for such a long time. It was impossible for them to just leave. What's more, at that time, they were at Lu Yun's place. What would they do? How could he escape if he didn't know how to detonate the thunder and didn't know it yet? Later, when he returned to Haikan and found that Lu Yun had sent them away, he could ask Wu Ziyawai to leave, but it was useless to leave at that time. Even if they arrived in Guangzhou, they would not be able to find Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao. Zhang Chen's BB camera is useless after leaving Hainan Island. As long as he doesn't call his phone number, he can't find him. Lu Ligan knows Zhang Chen too well. He wants to save face. He's not good. When he was young, he would not easily call others. If he had not had to call himself because he had sent the bank book to him that day, he would definitely not have called. On the phone that day, Lu Ligan told Zhang Chen the phone number of Chen Qiang's home, and told Zhang Chen that Qiang and Lin Yiyan had returned to Guangzhou. If you were in Guangzhou, just call them. Zhang Chen said on the surface that it was okay, I understand. But did not fight afterwards. On the night of New Year's Eve, Lu Ligan was quite surprised to receive a call from Zhang Chen. After that day, so many days passed, and there was no news from this guy again. He didn't even call himself when he returned to Yongcheng. Thinking of this, Lu Ligan dialed the number in the reception room downstairs of Zhang Chen's house. Zhang Chen's family lived in the dormitory yard of his father's unit, Yongcheng Instrument Factory. There was a telephone in the reception room at the entrance of the yard downstairs. When the call was connected, Lu Ligan said, "Master, please help me call Zhang Chen from Unit 502, Building 3, to answer the phone." Zhang Chen heard that the master on duty in the communication room turned on the loudspeaker and shouted, "Call Zhang Chen at 502, Unit 2, Building 3, Zhang Chen, 502, Unit 2, Building 3, come to the communication room quickly to answer the call." After a while, a voice came from the phone. It was not Zhang Chen. Lu Ligan recognized that it was Zhang Chen's mother. She said, "Zhang Chen is still in Hainan Island and has not come back. Who are you?" Lu Ligan didn't dare to say anything and quickly hung up the phone. Damn it, he hasn't gone back yet, shouldn't he? Lu Ligan did the math. Zhang Chen told him that they bought train tickets for the early morning of New Year's Day. No matter how he calculated, they should have returned to Yongcheng by now. Lu Ligan thought for a while and understood that Zhang Chen must have returned to Yongcheng, but instead of going home, he went to the theater troupe. The person he brought back this time was Xiao Zhao, not Jin Lili. He just risked it like this. Taking Xiao Zhao home would turn his family and Jin Lili's family upside down. Lu Ligan concluded that Jin Lili did not tell her family about her breakup with Zhang Chen, otherwise Zhang Chen's family would definitely know about it. If Zhang Chen's family knew about it, they would have called her long ago. Lu Ligan hesitated for a moment, but still did not dare to call the Yongchenwu troop. He was afraid that Feng Logui would answer the phone while sitting in the troop's office. Lu Ligan sighed and straightened up. Only then did he realize that 7 or 8 cigarette butts had been thrown on the ground in the corridor. Without knowing it, he had smoked so many cigarettes. Lu Ligan looked at his watch. It was past 5 o'clock. He walked downstairs and called Li Yong while walking. Li Yong was on duty at the company. Lu Ligan told him that I went to Yulong Road to buy salt-baked chicken and barbecued pork. Go over there to drink. Okay, I'm in the humming office, and my butt is almost covered with hemorrhoids, Li Yong shouted. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 398. Lu Ligan held food and drink in both hands. When he walked out of the elevator door, he saw Li Yong waiting at the elevator door. When he saw Lu Ligan, he chuckled. Damn it, I finally saw a living one. Lu Ligan looked around. On this floor, except for Li Yong's company, all other companies had their doors closed. Those companies that had their doors closed solemnly put 2 cross stamps on their company doors. Lu Ligan never understood the behavior of putting up seals during the Spring Festival holiday. He didn't understand what this was for. If it was to prevent thieves, would thieves be afraid of these 2 pieces of paper? Lu Ligan also didn't understand that Li Yong was on duty in the company. He knows that government agencies at all levels have people on duty during the Spring Festival. This is to prevent emergencies from happening, and each unit can deal with them. This is understandable. Even their Wu opera troupe usually has no one on duty. In the office, during the Spring Festival, a duty list will be arranged in a formal manner and people will be arranged to be on duty in it. Lu Ligan also understands this. After all, they are still public units. All public units, leaders of county committees and governments, in their offices, will flip through the phone book on the table and make random checks. Who knows whether Wu will be found? Troop. If it is found that the Wu opera troupe has no one on duty, then not only the troop leader will be treated as a model, but also the cultural director will also be criticized. 1 week before the Spring Festival, the Cultural Affairs Bureau will pay the outstanding phone bill of the Wu opera troupe's phone to keep it open. Lu Ligan wonders if it is because of this that the old cunning old yang, if you deliberately don't pay the phone bill, you will be able to use it in vain for several months before it is shut down until the next Spring Festival. Lu Ligan and Zhang Chen have never been assigned to the Spring Festival duty. Although they can be regarded as the backbone of the troupe, Lao Yang, the runaway leader Yang, thinks that even if these 2 guys are arranged, it will be in vain. Arrange it so that they will not be in the office and sit obediently on duty. Lu Ligan felt that all this was understandable. What he couldn't understand was that Li Yong and the others were in a broken company, and they had no superior unit. There would be no emergencies, and no one would come to check. What a shitty shift you were on. Lu Ligan told Li Yong his curiosity, and Li Yong sighed. He said, who can say otherwise? I don't know what my uncle is up to. I heard that every Spring Festival, people in this company avoid this duty. It's like hiding from the god of plague. If I hadn't said that I would do it alone every day this year, maybe there would be a bunch of people left behind, and I wouldn't be able to escape even when we set sail. Your uncle is quite weird, Lu Ligan smiled. Maybe it's a habit brought over by the original state-owned unit. However, he also has his own excuse, saying that the company is on holiday and it's not closed. How can there be no one? The company door is open, so there must be people there every day. What about regular Sundays? You humming don't know? We all have people on Sundays, but most of the time, my uncle is there by himself. Lu Ligan laughed loudly. I really don't know this. I don't come to the company on Sunday. The 2 people entered Li Yong's office. Lu Ligan put everything on the table. Li Yong shouted, go to the sofa to eat. Lu Ligan said, don't go. It's too short. My back hurts when I sit down. It's better to stay here. Damn it, your back hurts because of my sister. Li Yong cursed. He picked up a set of 4 thick volumes of Sholikov's Quiet Dawn on the table and put them aside. Lu Ligan saw it and teased. Hey, are you studying for the rise of China? On New Year's Eve, I went to Xinhua bookstore and found this. Otherwise, how would I have spent these long days? However, this book is really well written. The two sat down to drink. After drinking for a while, Lu Ligan's eldest brother rang loudly. He picked up and it was Sun Ho. Sun Ho said on the phone, "Happy New Year, Pole." Lu Ligan quickly said, "The same goes for you, Happy New Year, Sun Ho." When Li Yong heard that it was Sun Ho, he snatched the phone away and shouted, "Monkey, what the hell are you doing? Am I going to be bad in the new year?" "Hey, Yongzi, Happy New Year." "Happy New Year," Sun Ho smiled, and after laughing, he was surprised, "Why are you two together at this time?" "I'm on duty in the office, and the Pole is here to drink with me." "Hum it, that's for your own good. I'm also on duty in the office. However, you can be content with no wine and eating instant noodles," Sun Ho scolded. "By the way, Yongzi, let the Pole answer the phone, I have something to say to him." Li Yong returned the phone to Lu Ligan, and Sun Ho and Lu Ligan said, "Gangzi, who is that, Zheng Wei? He may have to move, and he won't be able to go to Hiken after the new year. You want to move again? What kind of tricks are you doing? This yellow bitch is doing well, so you will be transferred back to Beijing, and Zheng Wei will take over. You have just become familiar with the situation in Hiken, and you want to change it again? Are you magicians?" Although the words were said in a joke, the dissatisfaction was real. It seemed that Meng Ping was right. The farewell to Zheng Wei at the airport could not be said to be a permanent farewell. It was really a farewell and never looked back. "Yes, Pole, I know. I heard that you guys cooperated well, but I can't help it this time. It's still due to personal reasons. There's no rush for the new personnel. We'll let you know when we decide." "It's personal reasons again, what reason? Why did I come to your place and there are only so many personal reasons?" Sun Ho didn't say anything specific, he just said a few words vaguely and then hung up the phone. Li Yong kept looking at Lu Ligan. When he hung up the phone, Li Yong smiled and said, "The reaction is a bit big." "Why, you can't bear it?" Lu Ligan scolded, "Go away, don't talk nonsense, I am doing this for the sake of work, I will change it as soon as I take over, I will change it as soon as I take over. I didn't think much about it. It was your boy who really reacted badly." Logically speaking, the vice president in charge of finance made it clear that it was Sun Ho and others who sent to supervise the army. They should be unable to send anyone. I'm so happy, why are you not happy that it was withdrawn? Then we have to evacuate forever. Besides, I'm honest and don't sneak around and make my own plans. I really hope they have someone here to supervise the army. This way, at least, Beijing won't think about it. We also know that those random guesses will turn into hidden arrows in the end, so they can rest assured if someone is sent here. That's right, okay, don't worry about this, just drink and drink." The two of them raised their glasses and continued to work and eat. In front of Lu Ligan's eyes, something kept shaking. When Zheng Wei turned his head with a smile, that tall and elegant figure, thinking that she would no longer come to Hiken, made him feel a little sad. Pity. The two of them ate until about 10 o'clock, then stood up and looked at the mess on the table. Lu Ligan wanted to help Li Yong clean it up, but Li Yong said, "Ignore him, let's go, I have a whole day to clean up tomorrow." Lu Ligan went around from behind Li Yong to hold the set of Quiet Dawn River and told Li Yong, "I have nothing to do, so let me have a look." Li Yong agreed to leave the 4th volume to me, but I didn't finish it. Lu Ligan hugged the three books and walked out of their company with Li Yong to the elevator hall. Lu Ligan shuddered when he thought that he would go back to Yilin's house and be alone in the yard again. He raised the book in his hand and said to Li Yong, "You go first, I'll put this in the office, and we'll continue tomorrow." After Li Yong said yes, Lu Ligan walked to the elevator next to him and pressed the up button. Lu Ligan opened the door and entered the company. It was dark inside. When they left on New Year's Eve, Wei Venfang checked all the windows and closed the curtains. Lu Ligan walked to the back of the front desk and pressed the button in that row. There was no response from the switch. He was stunned for a moment, and then he remembered that Wei Venfang should have turned off the main switch. Lu Ligan turned on all the switches in the row. The huge office area was as bright as day, but there was no one inside, giving people an unreal feeling. Lu Ligan held the book and walked towards his office. He saw the rows of dark cubicles on the other side of the large office area. He stared at Zheng Wei's office for a while and sighed in his heart. This woman will never come out of this office and walk to her own office in a graceful manner. Lu Ligan continued to walk forward, walked through the entire large office area, and walked to his office. He opened the door and went in. Without turning on the lights, he walked directly to his desk, put the book on the table, and sat down in the darkness. "Come down." Lu Ligan sat for a while, feeling a little bored, so he stood up, walked over, opened the curtains, and saw Lonkan North Road below. It was much deserted than before. The large troops had not yet started to return to the island, and it was destined to be, in this way. Vehicles occasionally pass by at a very fast speed, as if they are trying to escape quickly from this road. Lu Ligan saw many cars parked at the entrance of the Tang No Bath hot spring opposite. On the neon lights, the female bodies were constantly changing colors and orientations, making them enchanting. Lu Ligan turned around, put on his bag, walked out of his office, walked to the front desk and turned off the lights, then walked out of the company's door and locked the door. After a while, Lu Ligan appeared at the entrance of the Bath hot spring. The greeter in kimono said to him, "Welcome, please take care of him. I have grown up and gone to the stables, from the building to the West Kuniga to the horses." You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 399. It was already past 2 o'clock when Lu Ligan left the Tang No Bath hot spring. He rode his motorcycle to Binya village. When he saw the ghost playing billiards, Lu Ligan got off the motorcycle and walked over. Someone saw him. "Come over and immediately give him the billiard cue in your hand." The ghost looked at Lu Ligan and asked, "How's it going? It's Chinese New Year, do you want to gamble on something?" Lu Ligan looked at the stall next to him and said to the ghost, "Whoever loses will get a midnight snack." "Okay, how many rounds?" the ghost asked. "Winning or losing is determined by 1 round, Lu Ligan said. After a few strokes, the two were evenly matched, but Lu Lipeo suddenly lost his patience. He threw the club on the table and told the ghost, "I'm hungry. If I lose, I'll treat you to a midnight snack." As soon as he asked for a late night snack, he cheered and didn't know where he came from. 7 or 8 people ran out. Lu Ligan asked the stall owner to put 2 tables into one and asked them to sit down. He told the ghost to go order food. The stall owner asked Lu Ligan, "Where are your wives?" "Going home," Lu Ligan said. "Tisk, money is so easy to make at this time, why are they going back?" someone shouted from the side. "What the hell is more important to you, making money or your parents?" Lu Ligan scolded. "You think everyone is like you, and you don't go home to see your parents during the Chinese New Year." "Then you didn't go back either," the man said unconvincingly. Lu Ligan was speechless for a moment, and everyone else laughed. Someone else said, "Why are you going home? My dad beat me with a stick when I go home. When the ghost came back after ordering the food, he was more concerned about what happened a few days ago. He asked, had they found Zhang Chen? Lu Ligan shook his head, I don't know, how should I know? The ghost paused for a moment, then said flatteringly, Boss Lu, I heard that you and brother Zheng have a good relationship, is it true? Lu Ligan nodded, he is my friend. That's awesome. When can you introduce it to us? Why, you want to follow him? Of course, follow brother Zheng, but on Hixia Road, there are so many girls on Hixia Road. All right. Lu Ligan laughed. When he listened to this guy's words, he suddenly remembered the story about the city mouse and the country mouse. To brother Zheng, these people were village boys who didn't care about them. These village boys, now the highest goal in life that they can imagine is probably to go to Hixia Road. They think that Hixia Road is really full of flowers and they can play and sing every night. I'll introduce you to him when I get a chance, Lu Ligan said. The ghost was so happy that he quickly gave his BB phone number to Lu Ligan. Lu Ligan sat and drank a few drinks with them, but he felt bored for no reason. He stood up and said to the ghost, I am sleepy and have to go to bed. You eat slowly. If you want to add any dishes, let the boss know. Here you go. The ghost quickly said okay, Boss Lu, go slowly, we will be measured. Lu Ligan greeted the boss and said he would come to buy the item tomorrow. After getting on his motorcycle, he suddenly wanted to go to Lu Yun's place. He thought about it for a moment and then forgot about it. Damn it, you just came out of the pink room of the bath hot spring, and you are going to find Lu Yun again. Isn't this too humming dirty? Lu Ligan returned to the room, fell on the bed, and stared blankly at the ceiling in the darkness above his head. In front of his eyes, the faces of Lu Yun, Tan Shuhen, Huang Meili, Zheng Wei, and Wen Wenqian appeared alternately. He was in a daze. For a moment, he felt that these were all his imagination, and these people had never really appeared in his life. In the distance, the ghost and the others were shouting and starting to punch. It looked like they were drinking and eating his food, and they were already very happy. Lu Ligan wanted to get up and join these happy people, but felt like I couldn't get up. He seemed to have fallen asleep before his eyes. Lu Ligan didn't get up until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. He called Li Yong and told him that he would no longer go to his place and would go see Lu Yun. Li Yong cursed, go away, of course my sister is more important than me. Lu Ligan arrived at Lu Yun's club, but found that Lu Yun was not in the office. The people in the office told him that Lu Yun was in the room. Lu Ligan went to Lu Yun's room and knocked on the door. Lu Yun opened the door and saw Lu Ligan. She was stunned for a moment and said, why are you here? What, you're not welcome, Lu Ligan said. Didn't you say you called me before coming? Can't I give you a surprise? Young poor man, come in. Lu Ligan walked in and saw Lu Yun's expression was a little sad. Lu Ligan asked, what's wrong with you? There is nothing. Why aren't you in the office? I'm a little tired, so come back and lie down for a while. Lu Ligan was secretly surprised. Even in normal times, Lu Yun was not the kind of person who would desert during working hours, let alone that their chairman was still here. What happened to Lu Yun? Lu Ligan reached out to touch Lu Yun's forehead, but Lu Yun knocked it away. Lu Yun said impatiently, oh, I told you, it's okay. After saying that, Lu Yun may have felt that this attitude was a bit rude, so she leaned over and nestled in Lu Ligan's arms. The two sat in the room for a while, and Lu Yun said, let's go to the restaurant to eat, and you invite me. Lu Ligan said yes. The two people walked out of the door. Lu Yun took Lu Ligan's hand. Lu Ligan felt a little strange. In the past, when it was still dark like this, he and Lu Yun walked together in the club. Lu Yun would never allow Lu Ligan. She always said that those who had physical contact with her would have a bad influence in the workplace. Lu Yun and Lu Ligan walked into the restaurant and found a seat where they could see the stadium not far away. As soon as Lu Ligan sat down, they saw the big round table in the corner of the restaurant. Lu Yun and their chairman, and a group of people. Table with guests sitting together. Lu Ligan stood up and wanted to say hello. Lu Yun asked, "What are you doing?" Lu Ligan said, "Your chairman, let me go over and say hello." "Sit down," Lu Yun shouted in a low voice. Lu Lizan looked at her and saw that her eyes were a little cruel and a little cold. Lu Lapole sat down. The chairman also saw Lu Ligan. He stood up and walked over. Lu Ligan quickly stood up again and looked at Lu Yun. Lu Yun was sitting there motionless, as if the person who came over had nothing to do with her and she didn't know him at all. Similar. The chairman shook hands with Lu Ligan and said with a smile, "It's rare. Reporter Lu, I heard that you are in trouble now." "No, I didn't rely on the chairman's help at the beginning." Lu Ligan said humbly that what he said was true. It was the chairman who recommended him to Mr. becoming an employee of the advertising department of a newspaper. This advertisement was really crucial to Lu Ligan at that time. The chairman looked at Lu Yun, and smiled with Lu Ligan, "Are you doing well now?" Lu Ligan chuckled and didn't know how to answer. Lu Yun suddenly said, "He is my husband." The chairman was stunned for a moment, then smiled and said, good thing, a perfect match." The chairman invited Lu Ligan, "How about coming over and joining us?" Lu Ligan glanced at Lu Yun and saw that she was sitting there with no intention of standing up. Lu Ligan quickly said, "Don't bother me. There are so many guests from the chairman. Please do it. We are here eat." The chairman smiled and said, I understand, it's a world of two. Let's talk when we have time." "Okay, thank you, Chairman," Lu Ligan said quickly. The chairman walked back and Lu Ligan sat down. He looked at Lu Yun. Lu Yun was looking out the window at the stadium not far away, where workers were spraying liquid. Lu Ligan wanted to ask something, but he didn't ask. The two of them ate in silence and hardly said anything else. Lu Ligan concluded in his heart that something must have happened to Lu Yun, otherwise Lu Yun's behavior would not be so abnormal. After the two of them finished their meal, they stood up and prepared to go out. Lu Ligan and Lu Yun said, "I'm going to say hello to the chairman, otherwise it would be rude." Lu Yun did not comment and walked out. Lu Ligan thought for a moment and walked towards the chairman's table. After Lu Ligan exchanged a few polite greetings with the chairman and his guests, he left the restaurant and walked outside. He found that Lu Yun was gone. Lu Ligan didn't know whether she had gone to the office or returned to her room. He thought for a moment. Or decided to go to the room to have a look first. The door to the room was closed. Lu Ligan knocked on the door. After a slight noise inside, the door opened. Lu Yun looked at him and sneered, "Are you too polite?" Lu Ligan chuckled. Lu Yun walked back and sat down on the sofa. Lu Ligan closed the door, walked over and sat down next to her. Lu Ligan couldn't help but asked, "What happened?" Lu Yun shook her head, "It's okay." "Impossible, there must be something wrong." "Oh, you." Lu Yun turned around, looked at Lu Ligan, and said seriously, "You should go back first. Today, I want to be alone for a while." Lu Ligan looked at Lu Yun, and Lu Yun looked at him. Seeing that Lu Yun's attitude was very serious, Lu Ligan sighed and said, "Okay, tell me when you want to say something." Lu Ligan stood up and walked to the door. Just as he was about to open the door and go out, Lu Yun rushed over from the sofa and hugged him from behind. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 400. In the darkness, Lu Yun sat up from the bed and leaned against the head of the bed. She looked at Lu Ligan beside her, snoring gently and sleeping soundly. Lu Yun put her hand into Lu Ligan's hair, and the tips of his hair teased her palm, which made her feel a little itchy. Lu Yun sighed very softly. What she had been worried about these past few days finally happened. This afternoon, the chairman talked to her and spoke very beautifully. He said that Lu Yun has worked hard on this club from its establishment to the present. Especially when he needs to return to the mainland to handle business in the mainland, Lu Yun has been working hard. It can be said that without her Lu Yun, the club would not be what it is today. Lu Yun looked at the chairman quietly, waiting for the next words. Sure enough, the next words came next. The chairman said that now, the club's work is on track and more guests are coming every day. But because of this, the management work of the club has become more and more arduous. Especially after the practice ground was opened, he has been treating Lu Yun as two people. During the day, he has to manage the golf course, and those VIP members are inseparable. You have to take care of the driving range at night. There are many people coming at night. Alas, I have always been aware of this. I know that your work intensity and pressure are too great, and you have been overloaded with work. I am really worried that you will collapse from exhaustion. Lu Yun looked at the chairman and smiled slightly. She thought that the drama was getting deeper and deeper, and the good show was about to begin. The chairman looked at Lu Yun and lowered his voice. He felt a little guilty. He knew that Lu Yun was not an idiot. She couldn't have known how false what he said was. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to safely invest such a big investment. Leave the project to her. The more calm she remained, the more it made the chairman feel weak. The chairman moistened his throat and continued bravely, in order to better promote the management of the club and to reduce your work intensity, I discussed with several shareholders and decided to divide the club into second, it is divided into golf courses and driving ranges. Lu Yun knew that the so-called discussions with several shareholders meant that those shareholders had withdrawn a lot of their shares during the most difficult period of the club's operations last year and had no right to speak. The chairman then told Lu Yun that her position would not change and she would still be the general manager, but her work content would be slightly adjusted and she would be specifically responsible for the management of the driving range. In addition, a new general manager was appointed to be responsible for the management of the golf course. This general manager is the brother-in-law of the chairman. The club implements a dual general manager responsibility system, but after all, it is still a whole. The golf course and driving range cannot be completely separated, so the responsibilities of various internal departments have also been allocated. Office personnel and finance are in charge of the chairman's brother-in-law. The marketing department and the operations department are in charge of Lu Yun. Lu Yun listened to the chairman talking incessantly. She felt a chill on her back. Damn, every move was so insidious. It was so insidious that he was telling you with a smile, you can get out. But the reason why I didn't let you go right away is because you still have residual value. Lu Yun understood that, in this way, the personnel and financial rights were in the hands of his brother-in-law, which meant that he no longer had real power. He was in charge of marketing and operations, which meant that he would continue to be responsible for the performance of the entire club. To put it bluntly, this part was that the brother-in-law was unable to take over immediately. After all, Lu Yun developed the customers one by one. The most cruel thing is that although they all sound like general managers, as the general manager, I actually have to report to that brother-in-law. Otherwise, you won't be able to move a person and you won't be reimbursed at all. Lu Yun felt that she was in the name of general manager, but she was doing the work of a supervisor. The chairman asked Lu Yun, "What do you think of this arrangement?" Lu Yun smiled and said, "She has no idea, the company is your company, you have the final say." When Lu Yun smiled, she felt a little angry in her heart. She thought, "Don't you want me to get out of here?" Thinking about it now, Lu Yun really regrets it. She felt that she should have complained about the crime at that time, but she didn't. This made Lu Yun a little angry with herself afterwards. If she didn't show it at the time and wanted to show it later, the effect would be just a big discount. Lu Yun didn't know why she was timid at that time. Was it because the incident happened suddenly? No, in fact, I already had a premonition about this. I still felt that after I got into trouble, I would definitely break up on bad terms. What would happen if I broke up on bad terms? Speaking of being in Hiken, she didn't have nowhere to go. With a phone call, Lu Yun believed that Lu Ligan would come to pick her up, and Li Yong would also come to pick her up. She wouldn't end up living on the streets, but Lu Yun doesn't seem to want to do that. Lu Yun didn't get involved in the crime. Thinking about it now, Lu Yun still felt that she didn't have enough confidence. After arriving in Hiken, this was the first and only job she found. All her work experience was accumulated in the golf club. If you don't do this, what else can you do? The bigger problem is that I have already been a general manager. It seems difficult to find a new job and then start from scratch, starting from the lowest position and climbing up step by step. You have experienced some experiences. I don't want to repeat it. This is probably because it was once difficult to overcome the difficulties. Lu Yun looked at Lu Ligan beside her and sighed secretly. She was not Xiao Zhao. She could not leave everything behind and return home to wash and cook for a man every day, waiting for him to come back. Lu Yun is not the kind of woman who wants to rely on men to live. Otherwise, why would she have to be a housewife now? She would have been a rich wife or an official wife long ago. This is not the role Lu Yun wants. At the same time, Lu Yun feels that Lu Ligan is not Zhang Chen. Although she loves him, this man always gives people a vague feeling of being unsteady. He is not a mountain that you can rely on, but a need. If you go to the sea of tolerance, a woman's heart must be so strong to be able to tolerate the sea. Lu Yun believes that if you leave here, if you want, you can go to Lu Ligan's company, or to Li Yong and Chen Qiang's company. They will also give you a position. Based on your own ability, after a period of adaptation, you can believe in yourself. And would not be sorry for the position they gave them, but Lu Yun would not do this, and she would not even talk about it with them. Lu Yun didn't know whether it was self-esteem or a need to save face, but she just didn't want to. Instead of doing that, she would rather go to an unfamiliar unit and do the most menial job. Lu Yun sat in the darkness, staring blankly at the wall opposite. She had never smoked before, but at this time, she wanted to smoke a cigarette. She wanted to be surrounded by smoke. Maybe that would be more suitable for her chaotic situation at the moment. Emotions. The cigarette was on the bedside table next to Lu Li's head. Lu Yun could get it by leaning over, but she didn't take it in the end. Lu Yun sat there, feeling a deep sense of frustration. She had always wanted to be independent, worked hard every day, and hoped to prove herself with her own abilities, but in the end she got this ending. If she had committed herself to the chairman when she realized that he had unreasonable thoughts about her, Lu Yun can guarantee that what she got today would not be like this. It was because she refused too clearly and made him feel a little bit there was no room or possibility, so he was so ruthless, or maybe it was to satisfy his own desires and dissatisfaction from another aspect. Lu Yun felt a deep sadness. She didn't expect that as a beautiful woman, when you want to work hard to achieve something, the first thing you have to overcome is your own beauty. A man would fall in love with a woman, and he probably wouldn't have such a result today. But on the other hand, I might not have even had the chance to get the assistant to the chairman. A beautiful woman's chance of being chosen is n times that of ordinary people, and her ease of doing things successfully is also n times that of ordinary people. But if she regards her beauty as capital, or clings to her beauty like a miser, she is unwilling to if she shares it with others. How many times more likely is she to get a bloody head than others? Isn't it said that beauties have a bad life? Is it the beauty's fault or is fate too unfair? Lu Yun feels that this is an absurd and complicated problem, but it is also a very harsh and realistic problem. Lu Yun thought of Jin Lily. Although you can hate her, in fact, your dilemma will not be someone else's. If Lao Xia didn't want to die together, he wouldn't dare to be so decisive with Jin Lily. So was it my fault? Or was Jin Lily wrong? Or is this society wrong? It is n times easier for beautiful women to succeed than ordinary people, but why are there so few successful beautiful women in all walks of life? Lu Yun feels that it is not because they do not work hard, but because they encounter all kinds of things along the way. There are too many hunters watching you secretly. If you are not careful, you will be trapped. Lu Yun sighed. Lu Ligan muttered something beside him. Lu Yun looked at him and touched his hair with her hands. Lu Ligan squeezed his head toward her. Lu Yun almost shed tears. Looking at Lu Ligan, she even envied their men. No matter how ugly a man is, in this world, the opportunities he faces are much fairer than those of ugly women. As long as a man is smart and kind, work hard, he will not have to pay as much as a beautiful woman on the way to success.